me say that a lot. And it starts with my mom in my life. See, my mom, she happened when she was still in high school, and she had no idea I was going to be born missing my leg. Not even doctors expected. So you can bet it was a shock, right? They didn't know what happened and what went wrong with me. And they said, other than missing his leg, he's perfectly healthy. We don't know what to tell you. We don't know what to say. And I struggled with that for a bit growing up. So I didn't understand why kids would whisper at me. Even adults would point when I walked with my mom in the stores. Didn't understand it. Get bullied, called names. So I felt really uncomfortable. But my mom, she always told me, she said, God made you that way for a reason. So there's a plan for you. We're all different. And she raised me that way. She raised me with this mindset, this unstoppable mindset, that nothing was impossible. You just had to figure out a way to do it. Some things are going to be harder. You just got to find a way to do it. Just figure it out. So with that mindset, that unstoppable attitude, I took that in my life. And I turned 14 years old. We've got a lot of athletes in here, right? You remember when you first got into your sport? You remember that moment? I remember my first wrestling moment. I walked into this practice with my older cousin, got my butt kicked, I went home smiling, blood all over my face, thinking, I'm going to be a wrestler. I like this. So 14 years old, I went out for my sport, my love of wrestling. I had a few challenges that first year. Okay? The lightest weight class at my time was 103 pounds. It's little. I'm a freshman, I'm 14 years old, I weighed 92.5 pounds as a freshman. Okay, my teammates, they joke with me, call me all these names, Urkel and everything else. Yeah, it was, I tell them they're jealous because I look more like Denzel, Jamie Foxx. It's not funny, it's serious. I was inexperienced, I'm 14, I never wrestled before an actual match. My teammates have been wrestling all their lives, so I got to catch up to these guys. And I'm trying to compete, missing my leg. So that first year was horrible. Got my butt kicked almost every single match, only won 5 times, and I finished last in my city of Mesa, Arizona. So I'm pretty discouraged, but I told myself, I can be unstoppable. I can be a state champion. And so I wrote that goal as state champion. I took a Charcter marker and I put it on a sticky notepad. It's a yellow piece of paper. And actually, I still have that sticky notepad. It's at home in my trophy case. But I took that and I put it in my locker so I can see it every single day. What do I want? What's my goal? So I'd encourage you guys, if you have that goal, you have a dream, write it down. Put it in your locker, put it at home so you can see it every single day. So you just tell yourself, I got to get closer to that. I got to work harder today to get my goal. And that's what I did. So I saw a state champion. And there's this kid who's a state champion on my team. So I started training with him, started wrestling with him. He'd kick my butt, throw me outside the restroom doors, give me wedgies, cross-face me. He won't touch me, he's nice now because I can beat him. But back then, he kicked my butt. And he showed me that champions, they're not just on the field, they're not just in the arena. Champions are in life too. He showed me that through his actions. See, we're cutting weight one day, cutting about 10 pounds. So the heater's up in the restroom about 100 degrees. Right? End of a 2.5-hour practice, I'm tired. The whole team's tired. Our coach tells us, okay, we got these drills. If you do them, we're done with practice. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I just got to survive. I got to get done, finish out, do what coach asked me to do. Chris, on the other hand, he kept finishing last on every single workout because he kept going extra. And after practice, he scolded me. He said, man, if you don't want to be a champion, if you want to be average, then keep doing what you're doing. He said, work just as hard as everybody else. He said, but the champions, they work extra. They're willing to work when no one else does. That's the only thing that separates the champions from ordinary people. It's true. In our sports, we're all doing the same moves, right? We all know the same stuff. It's just the champions, they perfect their style. They keep working harder than everybody else. So he showed me that. He told me, you want to be a champion, you need to work when no one else does. And I'm a huge quote guy. I love quotes. There's one that says, the prize is in direct proportion to the price. The greater the rewards you seek, the greater the effort needs to be to achieve them. And I love that quote. And he was showing me that. Yeah, I want that prize, but am I willing to work hard enough for it? Am I just getting through practice? Am I doing what Coach asked just so he won't yell at me, just so I can get by? Or am I really working enough to get that championship? And so he helped me to see that. So we started working extra hard. He started putting me through these workouts. One of them, we'd push a car through a parking lot. He'd sit in the driver's seat and tell me, okay, push it. So he'd make me push over speed bumps in the parking lot. 118-degree weather in Arizona in the summertime. I'm pushing a car. People staring at me, what is this kid doing? Another one, we're running with a 45-pound plate. We got to run a mile holding this plate. And I hated it. It sucked. But it helped me. I told myself, I got to pay the price. I got to get better. That way of thinking, I got better. I went from last in my city. I finished my last 2 years of high school. I was 96-0, 2-time state champion, high school national champion. So I'm thinking, I made it, right? Thank you. I'm thinking I made it. With that record, colleges have to be calling. How many want to get an athletic scholarship to go to college right now? That's great. Make sure you have the grades, guys. Make sure you have those grades. Because if you don't have them, you can be the best athlete in the world. No college is going to look at a dummy. They can't give a scholarship to you. So I'm sitting there. I got the good grades. I did well in my sport. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be blown up with phone calls. I got to get ready. I got to start figuring out my school. I'm sitting by the phone. It's not ringing. Thinking, maybe mom didn't pay the bill this month. What's going on? And so we start calling around. My coach is calling around, my high school coach. And he said, they keep saying that they don't think you can wrestle in college. They think you're too small. He said I was giving up about 40 pounds. Because college wrestlers, they cut about 20 pounds. He said, you're 40 pounds too light, you're too small. Kid with one leg can't compete with Division I athletes. He's not good enough. All these Division I schools said that to me. So I'm sitting there, so angry. But again, I had my dream. I want to be a national champ. I told myself, oh well, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So I walked down to Arizona State with the academic scholarship. So all you athletes out there, you never know. You might have to first show yourself. You have to prove yourself to get that athletic scholarship. So make sure you have those grades so they can really change your life. For me, I got an athletic scholarship. Wrestling, they said, okay, you do well this year, your freshman year, we'll give you some more. So first year, athletic scholarship, I'm working a night job to cover my expenses to live, washing airplanes. It's pretty cool. First year, I redshirted. So my redshirt freshman year, I'm 1 match away from All-American. So they tell me, oh yeah, okay, you can do something. Here's a wrestling scholarship. You weren't it. So I'm excited. I'm getting bigger, stronger. I went from these colleges saying he's too small to wrestle in college to now I'm a sophomore, redshirt sophomore. I'm benching 305 pounds. I can do 100 pull-ups in 2 minutes. So I'm solid. I'm little, but I'm strong. My coach always told me, he said, you gotta camouflage your weaknesses and improve on your strengths. He'd always tell me that, my high school coach. So that's what I did. I knew I was little, but I knew that I could be strong. So I kept pushing those bars, I got stronger. How many of you guys got a perfect life? Raise your hand if everything goes perfect all the time. Nobody? So you're like me then. You ever feel like when things are going great, you're just cruising, out of nowhere you trip and it seems like you fall on your face, things go bad? That's what happened. See, I get my full ride scholarship, I'm thinking, okay, here we go. My sophomore year, I'm rolling through. All of a sudden, I found out I get sick. I can barely get out of bed. We go see the doctor. They tell me, you have mono. You might not be able to wrestle the rest of the tournament, your season. They say, don't expect to come back for the national tournament. So I'm sitting there for 21 days. I can't practice, can't exercise, nothing. I can barely eat. So all my strength, everything's just deteriorating on me. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go see what's going on at home. I always get encouraged when I go home. I go home, find out things at home aren't good either. Find out that my dad, he's walking out on the family. He left my mom with my 3 little brothers, my sister, and she's just supporting them. That's her job, to get them all around. So the bills are piling up. We lost the house. Remember this time, it was scary for us. My mom, she's just selling her blood every week just to put food on the table for these kids. I remember just feeling so angry at my father, so upset and worried about my family. Nothing's going right. I'm thinking, man, nothing is right anymore. I get a call, Arizona State, saying, okay, if your blood test is good, you can come back to wrestle now. They tell me this a week and a half before my national tournament. I've been out a month, haven't exercised, my weight's dropped, my strength, which was my ally, it's not there anymore. I'm recovering from this mono still. So I go into practice, and it's no longer a sanctuary. You guys know what I'm talking about? You go do your sport, you can forget about everything else that's bad. If you had a bad day at school, bad day, whatever. Once you play your sport, it's all good again, right? That day, that week, it wasn't good for me. I was getting my butt kicked, and I'm the captain of my team. So my coach eventually just gets sick of it. He just gets sick of me getting thrown around. So he starts screaming at me. He says, no, you go again. He says, you're not going to get out of here until you win. So he's putting me against this third string guy who's just beating me up left and right. My strength is not there anymore. I'm recovering. I'm just tired. I'm weak. And this guy, he starts feeling bad for me. But in wrestling, we're told that you can never show weakness. You gotta be mentally tough. So he's just kicking my butt, and he's starting to feel bad. So he's telling me, come on, man, fight that. I said, fight that. And all the while, he's slamming my head, throwing me against the wall, picking me up, slamming me down. As my coach is screaming, he's screaming words I never heard before. He's yelling at me. And I'm just trying to fight. I'm getting up, I'm getting thrown back down. My buddies, like, come on, man, just keep fighting. So don't give up, don't break. So I'm fighting, I stand up one more time. He picks me up, slams me back down, I land on my head. Just lay there. Wasn't hurt. I told myself, it's too hard. So I'm done, it's too hard. I think we've all been there sometimes. When we're trying to get something, and it gets hard, we say, you know what, forget it, it's too hard, go to something else. That's where I was at. Kind of feeling sorry for myself. So my coach said, all right, if you want to quit like that, get out, just go. I go walk in the locker room, I'm crying, and I broke. Mentally, I just broke. I'm crying. Now I'm thinking, wow, I got nothing. My pride's gone, I just cried in front of my team. Nothing's good anymore. So I'm going to quit this wrestling team, I'm done. My coach came in, and coaches, you guys are awesome. My college coach came in, and I'm thinking he's going to yell at me somewhere. So he comes in, I'm bracing to get yelled at. He sits down next to me on the bench while I'm crying. And I look at him, I'm like, man, you were way too close to yell at me, I'm going to punch you in the head. Back up a little bit. And he stares at me for a little bit, and then he gives me a hug. He gave me a hug, he said, man, he said, I know the bad things that are going on right now. He said, I know about what's going on with your family. I know you're still recovering from that sickness. But he said, you got a chance to do some good things still. And he said something, it changed my outlook on everything from there on out. He said, there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be negative things that happen, that come up in your life. So you can't control those things. You can't control the competitors, you can't control the circumstances. He said, bad things are going to happen, whether you like it or not. The only thing you can do, the only thing you can control is how you respond to that. So what are you going to do? He said, are you going to let that challenge break you down, or are you going to let it build you up? And the thing about challenges, guys, there's always going to be challenges. You just can't let the challenge become an excuse as to why you not do something. You can't let the challenge be an excuse to say, oh, you know what, well, yeah, it's too hard. I can't do it because of that. The challenge isn't in getting knocked down or it being hard. The challenge is in fighting through it and getting back up and saying, you know what, I'm not going to stop. So he told me that. He said, it's up to you what you want to do. So I'm sitting there thinking, all right, I'll stay it out. Nationals in about 3 days, we'll see what happens. I'll go. I go to the national tournament. I've been out of wrestling so long, my ranking of 4th in the nation, it's not that high anymore. Now I'm like 18th. So I get a hard bracket. First match, they throw me up against the 3rd-ranked wrestler in the country from Iowa. This guy's beat me twice before. For those of you who don't know wrestling, Iowa, they're champs. All-Americans. They lead NCAA wrestling with the most team championships. They're intense. But they're kind of like the Darth Vaders of wrestling. Okay? These guys are mean, nasty, they pride themselves on being aggressive. I get an Iowa boy. He's known for his conditioning. He's known for wearing guys out and just making them quit. I can't even get through my warm-up without gassing. Mono's still beating me up. So I'm sitting there, I'm standing on this mat, 18,000 people watching, and I'm pacing back and forth. I got his Iowa fans at my back. They're yelling their chants. I got about 5 fans from Arizona State, all the way on the other side of the arena. So this is like a home Iowa match for him. And I'm pacing, I'm going back and forth on the mat, just breathing. You guys know that butterfly feeling you get right before you're about to compete? Yeah, I had that, but like times 10, I couldn't even breathe. So I'm standing there thinking, okay, don't throw up. You'll be all right. And I look over at the guy I'm about to wrestle. I look across the mat. He's looking back at me. He looks like he's going to rip my head off. And so I look at my coach. He's in my corner, right? Coaches, they encourage you. They inspire you. Give you the pep talks to get you going, right? I look at my coach, and he looks like he's so happy he's not me. So I'm about to get destroyed. So I see his expression, I see his face, I start laughing. I'm smiling all big, I'm laughing he starts laughing, because my coach, he knows me. He knows I need to loosen up, just to have some fun. So he wanted to make me laugh. Other guy sees me laughing too, though. He thinks I'm laughing at him. So now he went from intense, now he's clenching his fist, he's pumping his chest out, and I'm like, man, coach, you just made him mad. You gotta come at me harder now. But when he said it, popped back into my head. I was thinking, you know what? This is a bad situation. This is my challenge. I was thinking, what am I gonna do? I can't let this challenge become an excuse. Thinking, yeah, you know what? I'm not where I want to be right now. I'm not exactly in the best shape, but I got to figure out what my strengths are. I got to camouflage those weaknesses. I just got to run with those strengths. I got to find a way to do it. Got to be unstoppable no matter what. So I went in that match. I beat him by 9 points. Yeah. I was excited. Finished fourth that year. Following year, I'm up there at the national tournament again, but now I'm wrestling for a national championship. Now I'm scared out of my mind when this returning national champ, 20,000 people watching, and I walk out of that time, I'm running, and I look up at my family. They're all sitting up there, and I see my little brother, my mom, my siblings, they're all up there. Before the tournament, they made me shirts up. It's an unstoppable shirt I'm wearing right now. They were wearing them all through the tournament. So I look up at my family, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be unstoppable on this one. I got it. And I went out and beat that dude 7-1. And it was an amazing journey for me. And like I said, guys, there's always going to be challenges, but don't let it become an excuse. Don't let it be something that's going to hold you back. Be unstoppable and figure out a way to do it. But I'd like to close with a poem. This is called Unstoppable for you. I'd like to close with this poem, written by a great friend of mine. So this is Unstoppable to close it. Every soul who comes to earth with the leg or two at birth, who must wrestle his opponent knowing it's not what is, it's what can be that measures worth. Make it hard, just make it possible. And through pain, I'll not complain. My spirit is unconquerable. Fearless, I will face each foe, for I know I am capable. I don't care what's probable. Through blood, sweat, and tears, I am unstoppable. Thank you guys for your time.